Hello everyone, welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. Sincerely hope everybody is doing amazingly well today. Welcome all new subscribers, and of course if you are brand new, this is the first time you've clicked on this video, welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. And of course for those of you who are returning, obviously a huge warm welcome. So first of all, I just want to mention that I just started a TikTok account. Absolutely. The details will be downstairs, down below in the description box down below. So come join me over there if you like. It's really fun. Nothing is more than 3 minutes. So if you feel as though you just want some extra messages that are just full of support, 1 to 3 minutes, then come join me on TikTok. It's Unicorn Light Tarot, but everything will be down below. I'd love to see you over there. Okay, today what we are doing is we are actually going to do a reading for the Leo season, which is much of August. And we're also going to be concentrating on the Lionsgate portal, which comes on every year, 8/8. So the 8th of August coming in. This is a very, very powerful time for activation. A lot of what everybody's been going through is leading up into this time. So if you are Starseed, a Lightworker, an Earth Angel, this reading is definitely for you. And if you have been with me for a while, then you absolutely know that, as well as support and beauty on within these channeled readings, we also offer some magic and activation, however you want to use these readings. So we always have a magic candle for abundance and healing throughout each of the piles. So as always, we have 3 piles today. Wanted to come up with the theme of summer. So for pile 1, we have this beautiful little emblem, this pineapple emblem. I used to live on Maui, so this always reminds me of summer, obviously, summer fruit. And then for pile 2, we have this heart ring. I always thought of giving your heart away for the summer fling. Not that you shouldn't give your heart away in the winter. You should always love no matter whenever it feels right. But that's your pile 2. And then for pile 3, we have this sunflower icon here. So yes, summer emblems. And as always, take as much time as you need. The more in tune you are with your own soul and your own intuition, the more these readings will resonate, even though they are general readings. So if you need to go ahead and pause the video and just get back to you, do that. Do whatever you need to do. Always, the timestamps will be down below as always. So let's just take in a deep breath and hold for a second. Release all of your worries, absolutely all of your past, at least for the next 10-15 minutes for these channeled readings. You're welcome to pick them right back up where you left off afterwards. That is always your choice, but just come with us for this journey. All right, let's get right into these readings. No need to wait around. So let's put these piles aside for now. Excuse me while I knock everything over in my path. So if you chose pile 1, this beautiful pineapple emblem, then this juicy fruit. If you're allergic to pineapple, sincerely sorry about that, but you probably wouldn't have chosen pile 1. Maybe you did. But anyway, so this is your reading. Again, this is the Leo season, especially most of August, and particularly for the Lionsgate portal, what to expect for the next month. So we're going to start off with these oracle cards, and then we are going to move into some tarot a little bit later on to get you some more information. So let's move right in. Your first card is guidance. Wonderful. And number 33. Now sometimes these numbers can actually mean something individually to each of you. So you have guidance as your first card for the Lionsgate portal. And ooh, look at this. Wow, you've got 33 and you've got 33. That's crazy. Look at that. And you've got miracle. The frequency of miracle supports our belief in ourselves as part of source, and therefore our belief that anything is possible. Look at this pile 2. Somebody is in for Some great stuff coming in. And then you've got conclusion, wonderful. You've got 12 there, which is funny. Put those two together and you've got 3. So you've got a lot of 3s, 3, 3, 3s. If you've been seeing that, some of you might even be turning 33. But so it feels though for many of you coming in, this Lionsgate portal is going to be huge. Now, for those of you who have clicked on and pile 3 is yours, this will not become, this is not going to be a surprise, because everything that you've been going through is alluding to this point. So it's not going to be something that's absolutely drastic and huge. Very often, you know, sometimes we do have these sort of huge moments in our lives that happen, you know, everything's neutral, but whether we see it as good or bad, and there's a reason why we see things as bad, because sometimes things come along and it just sort of knocks us on our feet, and of course we think they're bad. It's totally natural. But so I'm not going to say things don't come out of nowhere and happen to you sometimes, but for the most part, we have these small instances as we move forward and we're gaining momentum, And even though we can kind of feel it, sometimes in the momentum as you're going through and the wheel is turning, sometimes when the wheel is, you know, the top of the wheel is touching the bottom, we can feel as though, you know, we're picking up dirt. We don't always see how far we've come. We don't always see the finite end, and we don't always give ourselves credit for exactly what we're going through and see it as something that's quote unquote sort of huge. But this is something that's going to come in, especially for the Leo season, is going to be very bright for you. It feels as though something is breaking open for you, something huge. The fact that you know, we all know that we have guidance. We all know that we're never alone, whether we feel it or we instinctively know it, or whether it's in our core gut, we understand it or not. Objectively speaking, from our higher self, we are never alone. But the fact that you actually got the guidance card is definitely saying to me, the vision that I'm getting, the understanding that I'm getting is that you are going to need, that you're going to feel as though this guidance is around you, this support, because something is breaking open. So, and here we have the end, chapter 1. So something big is coming in for you, and it's something beautiful. It's something that you're expecting, or something that you've been working on. It's sort of a, I keep hearing, which is so funny. My brother-in-law actually writes Sherlock Holmes books, but I keep hearing breaking open a case. So it's like something that you've been working on for a really long time, and you've been putting effort into, and sometimes when you're exhausted you pull away from it, and sometimes you go back to it, but something's just going to click into place and you're going to move forward. So these are general readings, so it'll be different for each and every one of you. It'll be that work that you're looking for. For some of you, I'm hearing even grants moving forward, or getting the money, what you need, that windfall of money coming in to be able to move on and do whatever you need to do. Now, if it is the money for you, this is not something that's coming out of nowhere. You guys have been working on how you work with money, how you instinctively feel about money. A lot of it is subconscious programming. You know, the laws of attraction, there's lots of laws of attraction, and you know, some of them work, some of them don't. But it really doesn't matter. If it was that easy, we would all be rich. It really is subconscious programming. You can put in all the effort in the world that you want, but at the end of the day, if you don't believe that you deserve money, or you really feel as though you have this ingrained understanding that you have to work hard for your money, otherwise it will not come, then that's exactly what the universe is going to give you. Now, this is something that you've been working on instinctively, Pile 1. You've been working not just with gratitude, you've been working with gratitude, because some of you live in the future. That's totally fine. I can definitely testify to that. And you know, and we always say stay in the present moment, but this is what I'm being told too. Staying in the present moment, of course, gives you the most power. But if you don't have a semblance or an understanding and even a reaching for the future, being in the present moment can sometimes feel really lonely. So what you've been doing, which is really amazing, is that definitely shifting the past. If you hadn't really worked on the past and be able to leave the past behind, then you wouldn't be in this miracle stage. So you've definitely done that. Now, something's happening with some of your programming too. There's been subconscious programming. Now, there's something that I want to say to you, Pile 1 too. A lot of you have been really hard on yourself too, because you've been working so much on yourself, and then all this sort of yucky stuff has been coming up for you. So some of you have been really doubting, oh my goodness, am I really as far as I think? You know, when I keep working on this stuff, why is this stuff constantly coming up? So we're gonna amend that today. We're gonna shine some light on that today. So you are working really hard on yourself and you're doing amazingly well. And what's happening is you're not going backwards, you're not getting stuck, you're not even in a void type situation. What's happening is that you had a lot of subconscious programming, and some of it you took on, some of it you didn't, but you kept it down for various different reasons. Some of you kept it down out of protection, and that's perfectly normal. It's a very human thing to do. I think it's said that most of us work 90% in subconscious. That's why it's really important. Only 10% in consciousness, right? And you know, if you look at the state of the world, some people are probably only working on 1% consciousness, depending on the person. That's not a dig at them. It's just the way society is set up. We're absolutely go, 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 go. You know, modern society, please don't stop and don't you dare look within. Don't you dare figure out who you are, because then you become powerful. Nobody wants that, right? Well, you do and we do, and we're moving into a different world. So what's happening is this stuff, this yucky stuff, let's just call it yucky stuff. It's like oozing, right? And it keeps seeing it oozing sort of out of the walls of your house. And some of you have been a little disconcerting, wondering, so this will be a good acclimation. This will be really understanding, anchoring in that this miracle is coming in, that you have done the work. What's happening is that everything that's been subconscious has come up to the conscious level. That's why you're feeling it now. Now, this is incredible. It's absolutely amazing. When you go to a therapist, they always say, 99% of healing is knowing, making those connections and figuring that all out. And then you can start to heal, right? Making those connections. So for those of you who have been feeling a little overwhelmed, wondering all this yucky stuff is coming up because you've been doing the work, it's all coming up from your subconscious. So we can safely say now that what's been coming up for the last couple of months is no longer subconscious anymore. It's all conscious. Now, it doesn't, sometimes for you, you've been in and out of this. It's not always felt that great. Totally understand that, completely understand that. But we want you to focus on the fact, this beautiful fact, that it's all conscious now. It's conscious. You can see it, especially with negative loops in one's head. For some of you, you can be very, very hard on yourself. Some of it's linked to the fear of not feeling safe. So you've been working on your first chakra, and all of it's been coming up, and it, projecting onto different things. And also some of you too, this may not message be for everybody, but for some of you have this very practical mind. So when you want something, you're going for it. You think of absolutely everything that could go wrong in order for you to be control over that situation. So that's another thing that's been coming up for you. And so these situations can really bring in a little bit of toughness when you're going for something new, right? This has all been coming up to the surface. It's all been bubbling up to the surface. Again, a little bit oozy for the last couple of months. So if anybody out there has been wondering what the H has been going on, or what the F has been going on, that's it. Now, this is a wonderful thing. It may not feel wonderful at certain times, but it's wonderful. You can see it all now. There's very little left that's subconscious. It's all been brought up. And we're doing it on a global level. We're doing it on a systematic level. You can see everything boiling up right now in the world, in the collective consciousness. And that's the thing, a lot of people are projecting onto things that are neutral, but the most important thing is that everything's coming up, and all those feelings are coming up, and everything that was hidden is coming up. That's the most important thing. That's why it's really important to know your truth and not worry about what anybody else is doing, because everybody's truth is going to differ, and it may not be sort of universal truth. However, the fact that all this stuff is coming up, that's the only thing that we need to concentrate on, and that is wonderful. May feel a little chaotic, but in the chaos we have the chance to heal, right? Because when we're in these circumstances where everybody's dumbing everything down, there's a level of control that's easy. You can go through your life, and people are much more easily controlled. When everything's up and everybody's not able to be controlled because everything's up and everybody figures things out, then there's pure freedom there. And this is what this is about for you. It's happening in the collective. It's happening for you. And again, everybody's going to see how they need to work for freedom very differently. Some people feel like they need to fight for it. Some people don't. There's no right or wrong way to do it. For you, there's a peaceful aspect for you. There's a breakthrough aspect for you. So you've been going through this for the last couple of months. Everything that was hidden has come up for you. And it's being reflected in the external too. So this could be a little bit of a stress point for you when you're seeing all these different truths and you're wondering what the hell's going on. This could have been a little bit of a trigger for you. But that's totally fine. That's just part of the parcel. You're working through that. So if you've gotten this and you're resonating with this thus far, this should not be in any way a surprise for you, because this miracle is, for want of a better term, for clarity's sake, is owed to you. Not that anything's really owed to you, but we know that you're not working with your ego here, far from it. So this is like a breakthrough. This is a break open, which means that not just onto a new level, but just everything is a break open. So everything that you've been through, and everything that you've, it's all combinating, it's all been moving, this kinetic energy. And, you know, there's been activations, and then you've reached a plateau, and then another activation, and some of you sort of whiplash. But this is sort of a really big breakthrough that's coming in, that sets in a new plateau. So something is definitely ending, and it will not just be on a metaphysical level, it will be on a physical level. Something is moving forward for you. So again, jobs, money coming in that you need. But again, if the money is coming in that you need, this is something that you've been working on. This is this level of abundance you've been working on one way or another. This is all part and parcel of the subconscious coming up to the forefront and knowing that you deserve it. And also we want to be really clear too that not only do you deserve it, but you deserve to have a successful life, and you deserve not to worry about money and have the life that you want. You know, money can be used as currency to do whatever it is that you want to do to help people out, and there's nothing wrong with it. This is something that you've been working with too. If the, you know, spirituality is can be a little bit tricky sometimes, and even artists, we've been told that, you know, work for free, do this, that, and the other. We've not necessarily worked in a society that highlights these ways of making a living. That's all shifting now, of course, but this is something that you've been working on, and being able to live the life that you want, and really understanding clicking into the life that you want means that you can have what you want and still have that pure, beautiful, delightful life. So if you've been working on even affirmations, or working on self-worth connected to money and connected to authority, to you being an authority figure within your own life, calling the shots, then this is for you. This is a very exciting time. Now your guides are out and thick and fast here. A lot of ancestors coming in too, because a lot of the ancestral stuff to do with money and self-worth is something that you've had to learn to work through, and it's something that's been coming up. So it's not just been you, which is why it can seem a little overwhelming. So when you heal you heal your bloodline. And we've said this before on this channel, once you've healed the bloodline, those very powerful ancestors who've now been, you know, healed, they're able to step up and support you in many, many different ways. Also being shown here that there's many different things that are happening for you, again, off camera, as I said in the other reading, the one before this. So this is already happening for you. If you click on this video and you're watching this before the 8th, this is already working towards you. It's built up so much momentum. Even if you stopped it or tried to stop it, I'm not even sure if it could. You don't want to stop it anyway. This is something that's been moving forward again. So this has been slowly moving forward, but this is a point where it's undeniable. Now you should be feeling it too, a lessening of these programs that you had before, especially with the dark loops that you can get about not being good enough. And we can say that, stop that, pile one, you know, we think you're amazing. But of course, you've got to work on that yourself. Objectively, we can tell you that you're amazing, you're going to do amazing things. And the fact that you're even able to come to this miracle setting, that you've worked on yourself so diligently and really worked through that darkness, just says, you know, how fantastic you are. But of course, you needed to do this, and you needed to release them. And this is something that you've been doing. So let's get you some tarot and see if we can get you some more specificity. Did I say that? That sounds almost dirty the way I said it. But anyway, get you some more specifics here. A lot of magic coming in for you. So this popped out. Queen of Cups. Love this card under guidance. So let's just move this so we can have all of these cards. So you've got a lot of you've got some maternal energy coming in here. So this is guidance. I want you to have this here. So definitely feeling that, really understanding. So this card is speaking on several different levels. So first of all, we have this beautiful level of understanding your emotions and understanding your superpower, your beautiful superpower, because you're an empath, and actually being able to, and you know, and people say, you know, it's a superpower, but if you don't feel it as if it's a superpower, then it doesn't feel like a superpower. But being able to, again, for clarity's sake, we're just going to use the word control, but that's not what you're doing, but it's going to feel like that, and it's going to feel wonderful. But there's an acclamation of the way in which you see your beautiful emotions. Now, as you're healing from and releasing these old sort of pressure points, like ready to blow anyway, these old loops and these subconscious thoughts, they no longer have any power over you. And then it frees you up in this really delightful way, Pile 1, to move forward and really understand your emotionality and be able to use your empathic skills in a way that you've really not been able to be free to do completely before. You've always known that you can feel all the energy when you go into a room. When people talk to you and they're saying things, you can see through it, the BS immediately. This has been both a gift and a blessing, because there's people that you genuinely liked, especially when you're coming into, you know, maybe a romantic relationship, and then all of a sudden something happens and you're like, God, that's a red flag. That's, oh God, why do they have to say that? And you just know it's bullshit, right? So, and you wanted to have a little bit more fun before this came up. So all of this you knew, but this is sort of a brand new level coming in for you. So it's being able to use your beautiful innate talents in a much more broader way, in a much more confident way, without being overwhelmed by your feelings. This is the true gift of the miracle coming in. And again, the specifics of this, and there will be specifics as it pertains to the external, will be a little bit different for most of you. But a lot of it's moving on to something. But there's an ending first. So there's movement, new job, whatever it is, or moving into that new way of being. The other thing is that from guidance, there's a lot of maternal energy. Now, it could be grandmothers, it could be people who are still firmly on this earth and still breathing. But for most of you, it's this divine feminine or very, very strong maternal links. For some of you, it's people who have just sort of moved on. They've not crossed over. I mean, they've crossed over, but it's not been that long since they crossed over. They want you to know that they're there for you. And they would have been close to you in real life, and they're a powerhouse when they were alive. Now, they may have been trapped in this lifetime one way or another, physically or something, so they may not have been able to sort of acclimate into their true power in this lifetime one way or another, but they are free and able to help you in such a huge way. So they are part of your guidance system. And the fact that they're here to do this, it's almost like they're all clapping, you know, as you move forward. So this is, oh, I'm getting a little teared up. This is not a small thing for you. This is not going to be a small portal for you, the 8th and the 8th, and it's going to be working before and after too. You're going to have a wonderful Leo season coming into this, but again, you've worked really hard to get here. So under miracles, we have the King of Wands, which is really interesting. I feel as though the Queen of Cups and the King of Wands came out too in the last reading in one of the piles together. So there's that energy. I wonder if some of you got the same piles. So yeah, we have this beautiful energy, this absolute gorgeousness of divine masculine, divine feminine coming together in this really, really powerful way, completely in sync. Most of us don't have that, and we're always balancing one way or another. It's never like 50-50, but you know, this balance of this passion of moving forward, but with the intuition. The way in which you've moved forward before is action, action, action. There's nothing wrong with that, but sometimes there's empty action. It's just spinning your wheels. When we move forward, we're moving forward with divine action. That's when we have the intuition behind us, and that's when we get these great rewards. And that's when our life seems seemingly effortless. Of course, we're doing so much work, or we're working with ourselves constantly and being honest with each other and working with our feelings as they come up. So it's, you know, there's work to be done in order to get to that stage, and this is an ongoing thing. You don't get to the point where it's like, oh, I've got everything now, I'm done. But this is like this beautiful existence of both both of them working with each other. Before, it was like, you know, when you move forward with such intense action, which you absolutely do with this passion, this fire. And if it fell short, then the divine feminine would come in and it would soothe you, right? It would soothe you. Everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. And then you sort of went through these modes before. So, but you never really achieved exactly what it is that you wanted, for most of you. Exactly where you want, or, you know, achieve even further than you could go. So it was like action, 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 fall short, and then the divine came in to sort of soothe. Now you're working completely differently, where the action is inspired, it's divinely aligned, it moves, it gathers, you know, it gathers the kinetic energy moving forward, working with the intuition. You're getting exactly what you need. Now, the divine feminine is there to soothe, but there's no need for soothing in this month. Now, the shadow of doubt, this beautiful miracle is coming in. So underneath your conclusion, yeah, the Seven of Wands, I really feel as though these tarot here, and I always, after every reading, I cleanse, and I also work with them before each reading, so they don't have the energy of the last reading. So that's really interesting. Yeah, so it's not fighting anymore. It's not fighting against yourself. The one thing that you realized with all of this healing that you've been doing, and it's very, very powerful, and we want to, you know, disclose here, it doesn't mean that, you know, the way in which you've been treated or everything that you've been through, that there's not been people who need to be accountable for their own energy. Not at all. And there's no fault. You know, it's not your fault. It's not this, that, and the other. But the one thing that you've been doing, and it's the leading part of how you're able to sort of heal and move through this into this new plateau, is that as you go back into your past, which you obviously released at this point to move forward, is that you've taken full responsibility for absolutely everything that you've done. And we're just going to give you a little bit of a real talk here. You've realized, Pile 1, and this was not a small realization for you. And if you haven't realized yet, and see how this feels, try it on. You've realized that the only person that's really ever held you back is yourself. And this has been huge revelation for you. That's not to say that things have happened and X, Y, and Z. That's not to say any of that, and not giving excuse to things, you know, situations that have happened to you, and some of them have not been good, for sure. But you've realized that you're the one that's held yourself back. And in that realization, sort of broke this nugget of wisdom, and it broke it wide open. And you realize. Now, we also want to say, you know, if this realization is coming in and around you now, there was a divine element to all of this anyway. Timelines haven't been set. There's a great reset that's coming in. This is coming in for you, the great reset. It's been coming in for a little while, and it's been activated by everything that's been going on. In fact, we wouldn't be able to do it if we weren't in the chaos that we're in now. So you've been leading up to the great the great reset, and this is going to be your great reset. This is huge. This is going to be big. But you realize that part of this is that you were the one that was holding yourself back. Now, the timelines of what you wanted to achieve had to be done within this time frame, because you think outside of the box, and you're a trendsetter and a trailblazer, and a lot of those ideas are a little ahead of their time. So even though you may have held yourself back, or there's no need to be hard on yourself, because the divine element of timing is now for you, and you're feeling it, and everything happens in divine timing. Everything happens when you're ready, when you are ready. A lot of you are late bloomers regardless of your age. You're also old souls. You had to deal with a lot of karma, so you're not going to be fighting against yourself anymore. And this realization opens up everything for you. Pile 1, you realize the power is in your hands. It's been in your hands this whole time, and now equipped with all of this healing that you've been doing, and really working on the money manifestation, you can bring in the success. So this great reset, and it will feel like a recess, because things will be coming in much more effortlessly as they did before. That sort of popped out, but maybe didn't. So let's get you a few cards here from the Making Magic, because it does feel magical. So these cards are perfect for you. See, this came. Oh, time to shine. Create the energetic resonance for golden opportunities. Could not think of it. And this is a sigil too that you can use if you want to. So could not think of a better Wonderful card to really sum up what we were talking about. Time to shine. So this miracle is definitely about you being out in the world the way that you want to. And again, opening up to see, you know, speak with the universe, work with the universe, whatever you want. You can go even further, have an expansive mindset to have this magical, beautiful life and enjoy this reset that's coming in. And it's just, it's all been coming to fruition. No more fighting against yourself, no more moving sort of against yourself. And again, working with the divine masculine and feminine in a way to move forward, but not to access the world that you want. So this is a new timeline for you. Expect miracles and expect them wholeheartedly. That's how they come in. You have to expect them wholeheartedly because you've done the work, and expect them every day. Wonderful reading, beautiful, 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 pile one. So we're sending you support for exactly who you are and exactly where you are right now in the world. Enjoy this gorgeousness, and don't forget to check out my thing. Yeah, of course you're going to check it out now. No, check out TikTok if you're just looking for, I try to upload every day if you're looking for it, just little 1 minute, 3 minutes supports here and there if you don't have time for a bigger reading. But you know, we just do these a couple days, a couple times a week, so definitely come back and check us out at Unicorn Light Tarot for the bigger readings too. But you know, day to day, if you just want something a little bit check us out there for instant messages. All right, stay safe and sane, pile one, until we meet again. Bye-bye. Okay, pile two, if you chose the little love icon with the ring, could mean commitment for some of you, commitment to yourself, commitment to another, then what's in store for you this Leo season? We're concentrating on the Lionsgate portal and messages for all you Starseeds, Lightworkers, Earth Angels, and, you know, with the Great Reset coming in, all of that, because that came up in pile one. So we are going to start off with your oracle cards, and we're going to get you some more details with tarot a little later. Let's get right into your reading. One, spiritual practice, number 19. Here you go. These numbers might mean something slightly different to each one of you, so I do like to point them out. Okay, this doesn't need to be reversed. Earth, 24 or 6. The frequency of Earth activates our deep connection to this physical plane excuse me, by showing us the beauty of all aspects of our Great Mother and revealing the more ethereal spiritual aspects of our nature. See what else you have too. And you have obedience. Interesting. Okay, so there's a few different things going on. Excuse me. Pile 2. So this understanding of coming out on your own, and this understanding of breaking away from the understanding of obedience and what needs to be done, but then you're breaking that down even further. So this is definitely a spiritual practice. You've already had a spiritual practice, but this is a very beautiful way for you to give me 1 second here. And we're back. Sorry about that. That desert air in New Mexico just got to me. I had to get some water. So here we have a very specific sort of moving forward with this great reset that's coming in for this Lionsgate portal. So it's not just a case of obedience. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm doing things on my own terms. I'm going to rise up. You know, some people are doing that in the external, in the world. It's perfectly reasonable. However, we talked about this in pile 1. However anybody wants to move forward is up to them. The most important thing is that everything that we've gone through is coming up to the surface in order to be healed. That's why it feels chaotic. And at the end of the day, freedom, it's all about freedom. Now, how everybody's going about getting freedom, some people are fighting in order to get freedom. So it's kind of a double negative to get there. But again, it doesn't really matter. The most important thing is that everything that's been hidden is coming up to the top, coming up to the surface. Now, when everything's come up to the surface, nothing can be controlled anymore. No one can be controlled. That's why it's important that everything comes up to the surface. And how it comes to the surface, what people believe in order for it to come to the surface, is not necessarily as important as everybody thinks. So For you, working with this, you've decided that you're going to do things on your own terms. You always have. But you know, sometimes the way in which you've worked, you've always been independent, wanted to do things on your own terms, but you've not always felt as though the universe or the world or society at large brought you into this and supported that fact about you. So, you know, there's a quirky aspect to your personality too that some of you have dumbed down, even a dark sense of humor some of you have dumbed down. So this is about you being complete in the world the way in which you want to be seen, and stepping into that power and claiming that freedom for yourself. But also there's another level to this which is really important, pal, too, is that the way in which you connect, you're actually connecting to your higher self, you're connecting to source. As we connect to source, we're no longer in resistance. We just stand for who we are and we claim that freedom immediately instead of having to fight for freedom, right? So this is something that you're doing. Now, you're used to fighting, you're used to resisting, and there's a strong essence in what you do for liberty and freedom. You definitely believe in supporting others, you definitely believe in doing what's right. There's a justice card behind you, can absolutely see it, we don't even need to pull it. And you're here to bring in and beckon in all of these beautiful things that are coming in anyway, right? But you're here to solidify them. But you're also here to solidify them from the higher perspective. So a lot of you have gone through a lot of different ways to move through this energy or to achieve it. And maybe some of you have even looked to the external world trying to figure out where you fit into it. And the answer is very simple, pal, too. You don't fit into any of it. You're making your own path. You will do things on your own terms. Hold space for everybody. Again, everybody's path. A lot of, as we said in Pile 1, a lot of neutral stuff has been, that starts off neutral, has been projected upon in order to make a point. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. The most important thing is that everything is being brought to the top. And that's the way it's being brought to the top. So in the details, the devil is in the details. Literally, you don't need to worry about the details. Always go with your gut, because you're a sovereign being. You cannot choose right or wrong. There's nothing dangerous out there. You choose what's right for you. You will be fine no matter what. And absolutely guaranteed, this will all be fine. Now, this is all about you finding the beauty in the chaos, because the chaos is actually very exciting, because everything's come to the top and it's bubbling over, which means that nothing can be controlled anymore. All these systems are crumbling. They cannot hold. There's too much light. There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of whatever, but it doesn't matter, because everything's been brought out into the open. So none of it can be dumbed down anymore. None of it can be repressed. So this is a very exciting time for you to really lay down your footprint and figure out how it is that you're going to move. Now, you may have been quite dismayed about what was going on in the external, gone down through rabbit holes, trying to find the truth, trying to figure this out. Haven't we all? That's a wonderful way to be informed. You know, it's wonderful to try on other paths and be informed. But at the end of the day, it comes down to what you feel in your gut is true for you. Now, that instance may not feel true for somebody else. Again, a lot of things are being projected upon. A lot of neutral things are being projected upon. And it really doesn't matter, because everything that's being projected upon can handle it. It really doesn't matter, and we're all going to be okay. So for you, this is a real connection. This is a true connection to spirit. This is a true connection to your spiritual path, to your higher self, to your God self. That is unshakable. Now, this is something that is leading to, this is something you've been working on. So if you're in this path, it's resonating. This is not brand new information for you. You already know. Now, what's happening for the Lion's Gate? What's happening for this great reset, right? Is the fact that you've moved it, you've shifted in such a way that you can now gain your freedom. And we mean total pure freedom, where you can allow people happily, not judge in no judgmental ways, be whoever they are, believe whatever they want, and still respect them without getting your blood pressure up, without getting involved, and with understanding sort of how the threads are piecing together, right? There's something much bigger going on rather than, you know, the separatist, this is the right way, this is the wrong way. There's so much going on beyond all of that, and this is the understanding that you're going to get. And, you know, this understanding of, you know, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to rise up against it, that's absolutely wonderful. I've done that my whole life. It actually didn't serve me because I ended up being part of that system far more because I was rising up, I was still part of the system. So I had to break free from that. I don't do that anymore. If you've ever seen Harold and Maude, there is this scene that I absolutely love. And she's talking with Harold, and she starts talking about how she was, you know, she was always in the front lines and she was always out there protesting and this, that and the other. And then Harold asks her if she does that anymore, and she goes, oh, every day. I do it every day, but not in that way anymore. I do it with my heart. And she goes into another day, I do it every day. And she was like, kingdoms fell, and she goes into this whole thing, and it's all about the power that you have and realizing the real power that you have comes from within. And you're going to acclimate to that power. You're going to understand that power. And from there, you get pure freedom. So this is what you're going to be working on. This is what you're going to be given. There's something that's the great reset that you're going to have in this this portal coming in. You're going to get freedom for yourself without having to, you know, fight for it. You lay down your arms, you lay down whatever you need to do without resistance. But at the same time, having a scope of how everything works, understanding the thread of it. So there's no need to explain yourself. There's no need for anybody else to explain themselves because you know everything's going to be okay. There's this deep peace that comes from this power, this really powerful sort of movement, and this real sort of click, not just into your blueprint, but who you are and who you're supposed to be. And feel as though a lot of people are trying to do this, and they might be doing it in a way that suits them. And again, that's perfectly fair enough. But you're here to do this through love. You're here to do this peacefully, one way or another. And some people need a different way to do it in order to find the peace. And that's something that you could have been too. You could have been that sort of that rebel and rising up. And again, we have to rise up in different ways. There's different ways of doing this. Again, there's no wrong or right way to do this. But for you, it's coming back to peace. And that's a very, very powerful momentum for you, and it's that clicking into it. It also again clicks into your blueprint, which means that you're on this new timeline. So this is not in any way a passive reading. This is moving into a new sense of power and freedom that is gained this month. So let's see if we can get you any more specifics, what the tarot wants to bring here. So again, this is something that you've been working on for quite a while now, and again, in order to do it, you may have to have gone down several different paths to try them on, and even though you may resonate with some of them and you may not resonate with any of them, you know, ultimately they just sort of ended up overwhelming you, and that's because none of them quite felt right, because you'll be gathering your own path this month and doing this completely on your own. But ironically, by doing it, by moving forward in this way, you become connected to everyone and everything. This is this part and parcel of the way in which you're moving forward. So you don't feel alone. You don't feel as though you're part of something. And that's another thing, when people are rising up, it's in the group, it's in that connection. And this is something that we might be seeing because we've been disconnected because of everything that's been going on. We've been made to be disconnected because of everything that's been going on. So the rising up might be in that connection, that physical connection, that getting out on the street. That's what people need. It needs to come out like this. So that's why everything that's happening is happening for a reason, and whether it doesn't really matter whether there's real truth behind it or not. It's just a matter of the fact that it's happening. It's actually beautiful. So coming into and making sense of that chaos and moving through all of it and finding where you stand in all of this is not a small thing. It's pure liberty for you. 7 of Wands, interesting. I really do. The 7 of Wands has been coming up. It came up again in pile 1, and I think it came up in one of the other readings recently. And I really do make sure that I cleanse even between each pile. So again, so under spiritual guidance, we have the seven of wands, this passion, this rising up, this power that you have, but this fighting, you know, laying everything down, not needing to do that anymore and standing in your power. But there is a whole path to being able to do that, and that's what you've been working on. There's this whole revelation that you've been working on in order to move through this needing to fight, or this needing to rise up. And again, just to be clear, if that's where you are at, that's perfectly reasonable for you this time, if that's what you've done in the past for other people to do. For you, you are moving in this complete state of trust, this complete state of beauty. It's sort of above the frazzle chaosness, the chaotic beauty of moving forward with rising up, right? And there's many different ways to rise up. For you, you're rising above. And again, it's not that you're looking down on anyone like that, but you're working from the higher self. So under the earth, connection to earth, you have the Ten of Pentacles, absolutely. So this is a new way for you to move forward. And to claim your liberty in a new way. And you've been trying on different things in order to claim your liberty, and some of them have worked in a little bit of success, but then hasn't always, you know, when you put something on, it doesn't quite fit. So for you, this is finding this perfect fit for you in this month. And this great reset brings in this sort of new way of being. And really having the sort of the spiritual and the practical mindset moving together and being integrated in a really, really full way. And also sort of the way in which you articulate yourself, especially when you come into the Great Reset, when we're coming in here in this portal, the way in which you speak, the way in which you articulate yourself, you speak with great authority. You speak with graciousness, with beauty, you know, at the same time. And even though you know the sort of person where people are, you know, really angry that you don't feel the same way they do, or you're completely wrong because you don't see it the way that you know they do, and they, you know, they're working in this sort of all or nothing, or white versus black, or us versus them kind of narrative. Again, it doesn't matter how they're working, because everything's coming to the top anyway, and ultimately it will lead to freedom, so it doesn't matter. But for those who are in and around you, it will not make any difference anymore. None of that energy can touch you anymore. And in fact, you'll be able to sort of you'll be able to calm down that energy when people are in and around you. They actually sort of lay down their weapons in and around you and just sort of have that sort of respite, that peace. You have that peaceful energy. A lot of you will also be carrying in this new level of spirituality that you have that will be a little bit different to the way that you've worked before. It's a little bit unclear how that's going to work for you, because it'll be different for each and every one of you. So you'll be implementing that in your daily life, or you'll be moving forward in your spiritual practice slightly different than you did before. You'll be entering into something else. Some of you may be, you know, becoming vegan. Some of you may stop becoming vegan because it's not working for you. Whatever it is, and again, there's no right or wrong way to eat. There is a right way to eat. You listen to your body and you listen to whatever it is that it needs. So, you know, don't let anybody tell you that you have to eat one way in order to be spiritual. So whatever you do is right for you. So, but you might be implementing something brand new, like meditation every day, or something that you're doing that's going to bring in this and solidify this new way. But really what it is, it's a heart activation for you. Really what we're talking about. And as I just said that, I got this sort of flutter in my heart too. So yeah, breathe deeply if this is happening, because, you know, we set up these readings for activation 2, and as we're coming into activation mode with the portal coming into Lionsgate, this could be working as activation also. So what's happening for you at a very basic level is a heart activation, and it's opening wide for you, and which is the reason why, you know, the connection will be deeper, the need not to have to resist in order to claim your freedom will not need to be there. But at the same time, this is for you to really stand tall and really make your mark on the world the way in which you want. Again, your truth is universal. And actually, we talked about the justice before. I just noticed it with this card. She has the scales of justice in her hand here, and the level of truth that you hold. Again, the way in which you articulate yourself will present great power, and it will sort of calm people who are still in that chaotic energy. Again, you know, you've come in and out of it. You've actually been in that chaotic energy in order to see it from the inside out, in order to sort of break it down and see where you feel and where you work within that. So, you know, and you'll be in a position to be in a leadership position where people will be looking to you too, whether you're stepping up in your role as spiritual advisor, or whatever it is that you do, starting a new business or adding something to your business. Or just stepping out into the world. The way in which you will be seen, the way in which you'll treat yourself, the way in which you see yourself will be very different. You know, when we see ourselves as someone who is already powerful without somebody trying or something trying to take our power from us, when we stand in our power and say, nobody can take anything from me, I'm a sovereign being, and we are powerful in that moment, and every level of us, every cell in our body resonates to that truth. The universe takes it, you know, sees that, pays attention to that. Your world opens up, and that with the heart activation that's happening for you. Now, the heart activation is probably happening for you in and around just before, if not already. So what's really happening for you is the throat activation. So what's happening for you is the throat activation is coming in. This golden lines around your throat for those of you who sing, or for those of you who channel too, that's coming in and around you. Even if you've done it before, there's a new level coming in. So the heart activation has already been activated. So it's going to activate the throat activation. That's going to be happening, throat chakra. That's going to sort of wide open for this great reset coming in. And this is a beautiful time for you, again, to articulate exactly where you are, because you come from a place of peace, and also you come from the higher self. You speak from the higher self. You speak from the macro, from the objectivity of seeing things from sort of from the end, looking back. Already have the freedom. Everything is okay, you know. But also have a lot of strength and a lot of beauty and a lot of patience. And understanding for everybody as they're coming into that in their own way, and again with no judgment, which I think is a beautiful thing. You know, just letting everybody, just the fact that we're all coming together and everything's being pulled out for it to be healed is something to celebrate. Beyond how they're getting there and what they believe to get there really is inconsequential, honestly, because it's all going to be okay anyway. And no matter what you choose, no matter what you believe, it's all going to be okay anyway. You don't have to believe one thing or whatever in order for things to work out. It's all going to be fine. But in that chaos, you know, things happen. So you have the Queen of Wands here too. Wonderful, absolutely. So you have that passionate beauty coming in, and yeah, you have that coming to this is your end result here, if we want to call it an end result. The obedience on your own terms, that articulation, that passion, that beauty, coming into your own vision of who you are, standing your own ground, without having to reflect the external world, sort of the lower part as it's all coming out and bubbling up to the surface. You know, whatever you are feeling, however you are articulating, it doesn't have to reflect that. Again, you're reflecting and speaking from the fact that it's already okay, because you're already in that timeline. So, you know, to be perfectly graphic, but, you know, people get really confused with the 3D, 5D, you know, expressing yourself from the 5D, but we are in the 3D. We're supposed to be in the 3D. Bringing the 5D into the 3D is what we're here to do. We don't have to live in the 5D. Sometimes people get so obsessed with the 5D, they get so distracted by the 3D that they don't want to be here. A reminder, we're all here to be human. There's something glorious about being human, you know, being able to sort of play this game of life. You know, we're not able to do this in any other situation. You know, we can live in peace and other planets and do all of that, and that's wonderful. But here we get the whole spectrum of emotion. Yeah, horrific things happen here on Earth, no doubt, but you know, you can get your heart ripped out, but that's all part of the beauty of being human. There's no other existence that will give us the chance to do that. And you decided to come down at this time, anybody who is here in this lifetime, you've chosen to be here at any time. You can pull yourself out. That is absolutely up to you. And that is always your choice. But you have decided to be here. So you knew with all of the existences that you had, with all of your past lives that you had, that this would be your time to speak up and stand in your truth, in that beauty, in this world. And this is exactly what the world needs. 48 is a very powerful number too, coming into your own being on your own terms. And again, not using a basis of any other timeline that's going on in the 3D of repel or resist or whatever. Again, nothing said against it, but you're not using those timelines in order to stand upon them. Your podium is completely 5D. Your podium is completely from the reset position. So again, heart opening, already hope opening, throat chakra opening. Singing would be great for you, even if you're not singers, but channeling, even light codes for some of you. But it's all standing in your very, very deep spiritual practice. So let's get you a Making Magic card. So this popped out. Insight. Opens the third eye to strengthen intuition. That's something that's already been happening for you. So I'm going to pick another card for you because we want to choose another one. So the insight has definitely been working with you as you've been going through the rabbit hole and figuring out how all of this stuff works and how it works for you specifically. Third eye's probably been activated as you've been working with your insight and been working with your intuition very closely. But again, it's really the heart and the throat chakra here, because this is all about how you articulate yourself from now on in. Very, very powerful way. Now, speaking physically is one way, but, putting yourself down on paper, books, writing courses, being out there. There's many different ways to articulate yourself. Songwriting, obviously art, anyway, business, whatever you want to do. Protection, strong protective magic for the family and the home. So as all of this is happening, this is your sigil here that you can use. As all of this is happening with the 10 of Pentacles coming in with the family life and everything, everybody is being protected. Even if for some of you, this may be just a message for some of you, even if you're going off in a direction that's sort of more open and some of your family members are very specific in what they believe, again, hold space for everybody. It's going to be okay. It's just going to be fine. It's more important that they feel heard and pull out everything and pull that into the collective so it can be heard, that it can be healed. So it's much more important to hold space for everybody. Even though they may, some people might think that, not that you're a little bit crazy, but that there might be some discrepancies on how people feel about how you're moving forward. Taking more of a stand, doing whatever. It'll be different for each and every one of you. But if that comes up, your family is protected, everything will be fine. Everybody will come together. Just everybody needs their space right now to be in order. And it's gonna come together a lot quicker than people think. A lot of people think this is going to go on for years and years and years. There's a certain level for the next year or so that we're going to have to deal with or live with. But this is going to break down and move forward into something much bigger very, very quickly, a lot quicker than people think. And new technologies are going to be coming in. All sorts of beautiful new things are going to be coming in for us as we move forward too. So, we're coming into this new way of being. This is just a projection of the old coming out, which is why it seems a little bit chaotic. But everything that you're striving for, your family is protected. And what you're trying to strive for in that happy space within that balance of harmonious family life, spiritual life, balanced life, work life, everything reflecting your life the way that you want it. That's all coming into, whereas before, it's not that you hid your spiritual life, but what you did for a living maybe wasn't really quite where you wanted to be. Your spiritual life was put on hold, or whatever it is that you wanted to do was put on hold for your free time, or, there were constant things that you needed to do in order to compromise. This is all about everything coming together and all about acclimating and moving forward in unison without you having to dumb yourself down in any way or to take one path or the other. This is really sort of, it keeps coming up as like this Jesus path, like going off in the desert and doing things your own way. And not everybody will want that for you, and people will project upon you because, you know, they believe so vehemently in what they believe. If you don't believe it, then there's a little bit of fear there, you know. If you're against us, if you're not with us, you're against us. And again, that's fine. That's just because everything's coming up. That's going to be solidified. That's going to be sorted through. None of that's a big deal. But it doesn't mean that you need to be part of it. You're going to do your own thing. But the fact that everything's coming together and you have this balanced life where you don't have to choose one over the other anymore is gorgeous. And that's coming in for you. Standing in this passionate, beautiful energy of knowing who you are, sitting on that throne, and the people who are around you that get where you're coming from and really respect who you are. There'll be plenty of those people too. So stand in your own energy, and don't forget to just articulate your truth and just not worry about the rest of it. It just, the chaos is chaos. In order to get to the other side, we don't need to be part of the chaos part. In fact, you're an alchemist. You can transform that chaos, at least in the interior, because that chaos means that it's all working, and it's an indication of beauty, actually. So these are the messages that we have for you, Pal 2. Great reset, beautiful time for you on the 8th, coming into that portal, but all of this energy is in and around you now, so it shouldn't be a surprise for you if you are already activated or feeling this energy. And feeling like this is resonating with you. So don't forget to check me out on TikTok if you want to. The details are down below if you just want a quick message. I think the longest message is 3 minutes. But do check back with us too for the longer readings. We'd like to have you for both. So we are sending you support for exactly who you are, exactly where you are in the world. Take care and stay safe and sane, Pal 2. Till we meet again. Bye-bye. Okay, Pile 3, last but not least, if you chose this sunshine icon, then this is your reading. And again, what is in store for you for the Leo season, particularly for the Lionsgate portal, which arrives on the 8th of August, and talking in and around as it came up for Pile 1 and Pile 2, the great reset that's coming in too. So special messages for Starseeds, Lightworkers, Earth Angels. We will start off with your, let's see, these beautiful, I was going to say Instagram, that's not it, beautiful oracle cards, and then we will move on for some extra information for your tarot. So let's get into your reading. Understanding the number 13, gorgeousness, look at that. So some of these numbers might resonate with you slightly differently too for numerology or life path. Number 13, and then we have a transition, number 43, which is a very powerful number. The frequency of transition supports our deep understanding of the ever-changing nature of existence and our lives, so that we can learn to let go, surrender to the process, and allow transition to occur with ease and grace. Interesting. And then last but not least, we have complicated. Okay, and you have the number 11, 2 or 2. So there's a few things going on for you too, for Pile 3. So you're definitely moving into or coming out of a transition. So this transition will be solidified in the month of August for our Leo season and the Lionsgate portal. So there's been sort of some ups and downs. For some of you, there's been some situations where you thought you were on the right path and things have just sort of fallen away a little bit, or situations where things have been a little bit foggy, or you've not been able to see sort of the light of day. It's not always been sort of deep and dark and really dramatic, but it's felt as though you're sort of in the eye of the storm, protected in some ways, but at the same time not being able to gather the scope of what's going on. So the transition will be coming, you'll be coming out of that transition, you'll be able to sort of look at what's going on and pick up the pieces and see exactly where you are moving to. And for some of you, there's a sort of this intense anger in a way of stuff coming up, and you know, for some of you this might not be a message for all of you, but for some of you, be careful of how you treat yourself or how you've been treating yourself. Maybe you've just come out of that, and if you are in the middle of it, then you know some of the situations that you've been in and how how you've treated yourself, or being hard on yourself for how things went down before. Past is past, we know that, but sometimes it can be a little bit difficult. I'm definitely feeling for some of you that, you know, because you've been in this path, and the transition paths can be difficult. There's no two ways about it. So our heart goes out to you. In those transition paths, when you're right in the middle of it, sometimes it's easy to go back and say, well, if I had chosen differently there, I wouldn't be in this situation now. So if you've done that, or you're doing that, please stop if you can. You know, the transition, we're here to tell you the transition is moving. You're moving through it. You're absolutely moving through it. And also the other thing is, it makes things a lot more complicated when you hold on to the old energy and say, if I had chosen this way, how would I go? Now, we often, you know, it's pretty human to try things on. If I had chosen this way, where would I be? You know, I left my home country when I was 20. You know, recently I've been looking back and said, if I stayed there, you know, I would have had a very different life. Now, we do that to try things on, and that's absolutely fine. But we want to be able to come out of that, because we trust that our intuition took us in a direction, and you are absolutely on the path that you were meant to be on. So there is some kind of understanding that's coming in from the onslaught, or the coming out of this transitional stage. Now, when we say that there's a transitional stage, we're not saying that, you know, things aren't highlighted, or you're not where you're supposed to be, or that this Lion's Gate, for instance, this new reset won't be huge for you. There will be a 180 presenting itself, but also there's a beauty of coming to grips, or coming to real understanding to who you actually are, and that everything that's played out sort of like dominoes, and really coming to this amazing place of accepting oneself. Now, this may seem, oh, okay, that's great, you know, it may seem like a little bit of a passive reading. Oh, great, I get to, you know, accept myself. But there's a huge amount of power that comes into expressing yourself from an accepted understanding of who you are. You see, what you're doing is you've taken everything and you've done things the right way, insofar as you really understand that everything that's on the external is merely a reflection of the internal. So what you've been doing the complicated work of pulling out all the threads and figuring out whether it's societal, whether it's personal, interpersonal, whether it's past lives. I mean, you've done everything. A lot of you have done every course under the sun, even if it's like a course for an hour, or you've done this. You've done a lot of reading on this, that, and the other. For most of you, you know, the commitment to do just one course for a year will be very different to like reading. You know, you're always reading, you're always informing yourself one way or another. And the way in which you inform is great, because you take in everybody else's opinion, everybody's kind of viewpoint. And what you can do, which is really wonderful too, if somebody has a version of reality, you'll go in and go, that part of the version of reality doesn't work for me, but I love this. Let me take this out. Let me work on that. I'm going to put it under a fine microscope, which is my beautiful mind. I'm going to expand it and see how that works for me. So what you've been doing is you've been sort of burrowing in and figuring things out in such a way on the interior that when you come into this Lionsgate portal, it all comes to fruition and it all balances out. It all integrates in such a way that you have this huge amount of understanding and you have this huge amount of appreciation for yourself. In that appreciation comes great freedom. And in that appreciation comes this new way of being in the world. So let's get you some more information here and see what else we have for you. So yeah, it connects you in a new way. It connects you to yourself in a new way. It connects you to your outer world in a new way. Again, stressing this is not a passive reading. This is going to be big. It's going to be big. Let's see what we have for you. Understanding yourself is very few people sort of understand themselves. What they want to do is they want to objectify or spend all of their attention on the external. Break down the external, understand the external. And in fact, our systems, our social systems, our school systems are set up that way. You know, we're taught in history, we're taught in social studies, whatever, you know, to concentrate on the systems. Let's learn the systems. Let's see the systems. You know, even if you have a feminist class or something, and you're looking at the systems from different modalities, from different points of view, which of course is great, you're still focusing on the systems. So those systems are crumbling now. They're just, there's no pillar for them anymore. They're coming down. So, you know, studying yourself through the systems doesn't really work. And in fact, we've seen that, you know, we've studied history and we've realized that there's a very, very small amount of history that's accurate, or it's presented from a certain point of view. And again, that's part of social, the way in which we go in and the way in which we're taught certain things. A lot of what we're taught is inconsequential. It's from a point of view. So you've broken all of that down. It's all being broken down in society anyway. All of it's crumbling, but you've gone into the interior and you've broken all of that down within yourself. So none of that makes sense anymore. You know, even as we said in Pile 2 as an example, even fighting or resisting a system for you wouldn't make any sense too, because it's still part of the system. You want it all gone. So the transition is coming out for you. As you move out on the other side, you get to really break down all of those systems within you. So your external is completely different, which changes the way that you move, the way in which you integrate into this world. You have a little bit in common with Pile 2. Different energy, but you know, again, always listen to your intuition no matter what. But if you're feeling the vavum there, you might want to check out Pile 2, see if there's any extra information for you. You know, if it doesn't come up straight away, it's not resonating, then it isn't for you. You shouldn't have to go through all of it to figure out that wasn't for you. But if it does, if you are feeling as though it might be something that you want to check out, then check out Pile 2. So let's see what we have. Yeah, so you have the Four of Cups here. And you have the Four of Cups in a way where, you know, the way in which you've broken things down is the way the truth has been given to you. And you're creating your own sense of truth now. So what you've been handed to you, what you've been told, and, you know, and again, this is happening globally. And it's all happening in different ways. But you're doing it in a very, it's not a peaceful way, in a way, to go to do the inner work. It's actually sort of violent in a way, because we have to go in and we have to do all of that work sort of on the inside. A lot of people are choosing to connect that work to the external and fighting the external. And that's, of course, their right to do. And that works for them. And in many ways it works, as we've discussed this much more deeply in Pile 2, it works for the collective too. And everything's going to be fine no matter what. But for you, that didn't work for you. But you are looking at everything that you've been through, what you've been handed, how you are in the world, how you can make that better. And the way you do that is you break down those systems from within. Your external will shift. The way in which you exist in the external world, how you feel, also the way in which you work with your higher self, your God self, and also with the universe. That's all shifting too. So there's a lot more harmony coming in for you. There's a lot more magic coming in for you too. And also a lot of you, how you resisted before. Some of you are even coming out of, or you have come out of, and now you're getting this pure understanding from the sort of macro element of some of the addictions that you had throughout your life, or things that you, not necessarily addictions, but things that you relied on in order to survive. And again, we, you know, our heart goes out to you, and these are things that you will be able to help others do too, because it's totally understandable that, you know, we need something able to help us get through the day, or whatever it is that we do, if we've been treated in a certain way, or if we've been told by society that we are one way versus another. So this is something that you're breaking down, and you're also breaking it down on a very interpersonal level, how it's affected you on certain levels. You're forgiving yourself for that. You're understanding why you did it, and you're really connecting to that pain, but not in a way that it brings you down, it's overwhelming, in a way that you can actually breathe through it. And, you know, I see a lot of you sort of like laughing and crying through this, like, this is incredible that I did this. This is absolutely incredible. And really integrating that into every cell of your body, which is absolutely beautiful. You will also be, and the word scapegoat is coming up for some reason, you know, really taking responsibility for absolutely everything, but really understanding where the problems lay too. you know. So being able to direct your energy in a really forthright way that works for you and works for people in the world too. I don't know if some of you are counselors or you're thinking about going into that, or being some sort of spiritual counselor, but you know, and most of you will be in a position where you're the sort of person that people, you know, talk to you at a bus stop and tell you everything anyway, and just divulge all sorts of information to you, or your friends come to you, know that it's a safe space and you can hold space for them. So you might be taking this to the next level. And again, these are general readings, so the way in which you integrate this into your life or don't integrate this into your life will be completely and totally up to you as always. But this is a very sort of insular way of pulling back your power. So yeah, you've got death. This is a brand new version of you coming in. Something is ending. And again, we had this remnants of this in Pile 2. So again, if you want to check out Pile 2. But this is not a small thing. Coming out of this transition leaves you with this new way of being. And it's a way that you can work with the collective. It's a way that you can work with the interpersonal. It's pure freedom. Again, slightly different energy from Pile 2 though. It's absolutely gorgeous. And this is something that you've been incrementally working towards. So if you feel as though, you know, this has been resonating with you, there's a reason why it's been resonating with you. So this is not a dramatic thing that's automatically going to happen. That's why we're saying that it's not a passive reading, but it will be identifiable in and around, you know, the 8th, in and around this new reset. It will feel like a reset. Now, the main thing that's going to happen for you is that the outer world for you will change, because all of this on the inner world has changed. Your inner world has changed. So abundance level are now open. Your life is much more expansive. As we say, instead of just moving forward in one direction, it's nothing intrinsically wrong with that at all. But living spherically in every direction opens you up into this expansive world where you can just go in any direction, but still be very firmly clicked into your blueprint for what it is that you're supposed to do, you know, and also offering it up to the universe. This is what I want. This is what I think I want. But you know what? If you think I can do better, or if you believe that there's something better out there for you, just bring that in for me. Don't waste my time with anything else, you know, that sort of thing, that really expansive view. And bringing that in a very practical, beautiful, grounded manner where these beautiful instances just sort of take off. You know, you just sort of, you're there at the seemingly the right place at the right time, right? And things just start taking off. Again, you've built this really firm foundation. And you've been sowing these seeds one way or another. But this is true appreciation for oneself. This is true format. This is a found format of deep belief in oneself, which allows you to move in any direction. It's a very, very powerful manifestation that you are coming into in this great reset coming in. And this is nothing that you've been through before. Again, you've been through these shifts, and then things sort of even out, and then you go through these shifts, and then something evens out. This is a new reset. This is different. This takes away whatever wasn't working. You can cut cords with it, whatever isn't working, and just really concentrate on what is working, because you have that inner manifestation of beauty. Ah, look at that. Strength, absolutely. You know, and this idea of strength too, this understanding of strength is working in many different ways. I do love this infinity sign, you know, taking this also and understanding living spherically in any different direction and having this really expansive life. A lot of you want this magical life. You know, you have this very practical mindset, and sometimes you can get really into the details, and that was part of how you focused for what you wanted to get, because you believed, and you did in many ways have to work a lot harder than other people to get to where you wanted to be. Not all of you had the support that you needed in order to become who you are. So there's a lot of things that you needed to do, a lot of vices that you needed to go through. But you know, in all of those experiences, you can really see people for who they are, because you've put yourself in so many different experiences, and you've seen so many things. You've seen so many things go down. You have so much, not just control, but you have this beauty, this unearthed beauty, and compassion for people and that pain, more so than most people do. Especially these days, I feel as though people cut people off very quickly if you're not thinking this and that's it, and that's fine. That's just the way that they are. But You're completely the opposite because of everything that you've been through. And this has been guidance. This has been beautiful for you. But you also want to reach that plateau where you can be in and around people and tell people that they don't have to go through this. They are already beautiful. So in fact, a part of your blueprint is providing the kind of support for others that you never had growing up. That's in part of your blueprint. Now, you will be doing this, everybody will be doing this in a slightly different way, and there'll be variants of how you do it too. It'll be an amalgam of different ways. You'll be blending this with blending this and blending that, but this is very much part of clicking into your blueprint, providing this for other people, you know, whether it be writing the book that you wish that other people had had, or whatever it is. So you will be looking in a very specific direction, and it is moving forward, but again, you're moving spherically. So working with the universe in a very, very beautiful way, where you have this magical life, where it feels as though things just sort of float in for you, but they're not floating in. Again, you have this firm foundation. You've been planting the seeds for many, many years. Even if you didn't, even on some level, if you weren't worried about it, but if you really wondered if it would actually come true, you still watered those seeds. So this firm foundation is coming for you, has already been solidified. So on the other side of this transition, as you look back, this beautiful understanding and beautiful self-acceptance for all that inner work that you've done, standing really true in this world, in the external world, where you can now work with the universe completely differently. And you'll be clicking into your blueprint. You'll be bringing in aspects of your blueprint and moving forward in a brand new direction with a lot more authority and beauty. So yeah, promotions, whatever it is that it is, and again, for each of you it will be slightly different, but you'll be solidifying that as you move forward with your blueprint. It'll be coming up to the next level. So let's get you a couple of these making magic cards, which is perfect for you. But yeah, definitely an ending. And it's a beautiful ending. It's going to feel like a dance. Whereas before, you know, a lot of your stuff's been edgy. It's been more like, I'm dodging here, I'm dodging there, I'm going to stay safe here, I'm going to stay safe. This is like a dance. You're dancing with the universe, coming out on the other side of this. It's really beautiful. And it's really nice to calm, peaceful energy, just knowing everything's going to be okay, but really feeling that. And being able to express that to others and have them feel it too. See, when your energy gets to a different level, and you work with the universe at a level of sort of not completion, but of true peace, things really start happening in a way that you just cannot explain, you know. So you're coming in for this air. Work with the element of air to cut through to the core of the situation and see the truth. This is something that you've already been doing with the complicated stuff as you've looked back. And figuring out how things work for you. So let's pull another one. I feel as though that's just telling us really, in a way, the past. That's something that you've already been working on. You wouldn't have been able to get to this reset part, this aspect of this reset in this month of August if you hadn't already been doing that. And you do have that mindset, that practical mindset where you go through and you're able to do that. Here we go. This is what we wanted. A successful career, a happy working environment, pay raises and promotions. We already said the promotions and pay raises. Again, that will look different for you, for each of you. Some of you, you might be branching out and working on your own, or taking whatever you're doing to the next level. Whatever it is, it's going to be successful because you're working with the universe in a brand new way. Remember to say to the universe, you know, whatever it is that I want, upgrade it. You know, you're not in a position right now, Pile 3. You do not have to settle for anything and work through all this stuff and, you know, work hard to get to the next. You're going to be working hard anyway, but, you know, learn these lessons to move on to the next thing. This is what I want, but, you know, if there's something better out there for me that works with my time frame, that works with my blueprint, let's just go for that. You know, there's no time to waste anymore. You've come out of a whole learning period where all of that information's been acclimated. So this is the payoff time for you to get out there and to be able to do this, and not to be held back by these constant lessons that we need. Of course, you know, they'll come up when they do, you know, but you're not in a position to keep going through the lessons anymore. You don't have to do that. So remember to work with the universe in that way, and that will be very helpful. But yeah, as we already said, this is this is working in the way that you want to, and really feeling very clear about your blueprint, really loving what you do, and not worrying that it's, you know, it's not going to pay off, or you won't be able to make this bill, you won't be able to do that. Just being in pure energy of, I love what I do, I'm good at it, I know I can do this, I know I'm going to be successful at it, and knowing that the universe will reward you in many different magical and seemingly on, you know, these crazy ways that you could never have thought of. You're going to be okay, you'll be well taken care of. So this is what's coming up for you in the Great Reset for the Lionsgate portal. Absolutely wonderful. Want to remind you too, for extra energy, again, check back in with Pile 2 if you want to, and also check me out, the Unicorn Light Tarot. The link is below on TikTok. Videos from 15 seconds to 3 minutes. You know, we always want you here for the longer readings too, so do check back with us, of course. But you know, sometimes you just, I do upload every day, sometimes you just want a little check-in with your messages, and you just want something for 15 seconds, so we can provide that for you on TikTok. So please check us out. I'd love for you to do that, but please come back too. So stay safe and sane, and we're sending you so much love and support for exactly who you are and where you are in the world. Until we meet again, enjoy this beautiful month coming up for you. Gorgeousness, Pile 3. Bye-bye.